Alrighty then, and welcome to Noah 6. So this is a channel by myself, Noah, that is all things football, or soccer if you're American, but for the sake of the argument, we'll call it football while we're on this channel. So this channel is going to be everything that I have opinions about, everything that I find interesting, and all sorts of beautiful tidbits from the beautiful game. Now, as I'm sure you've seen by the title, and hold on, let me give my reasons, this is why I believe the United States will win the World Cup before England. So reason number one is that football is on the rise in the US. Whether it be from merchandise sales to grassroots MLS organizations funding the game, football has seen a considerable peak in interest among the general American population. Now, this has to do with a multitude of factors, some among them being the United States immigrant population having a significant effect on the culture shift in major cities, which leads many people down the path of football, having brought it in from multitudes of other countries that are already obsessed with the game. As well as this, there's been the rise of global U.S. superstars such as Christian Pulisic and Weston McKennie and many others that have gained prominence, not just the American league, but the European game as well. And with new facilities, new stadiums, and new youth development clubs all cropping up around the nation, the U.S. is really primed to take advantage of its significant population growth. The United States has a population of around 330 million, which in comparison to England's 55 million is quite a bit bigger. Now, if utilized correctly, with the amount of facilities that England has, the United States would absolutely blow them out of the water. But this is where they're still lacking. However, with the amount of money that is poured into American sports, with NFL and NBA cited as examples, the U.S. definitely has the funds to see a sharp increase in facilities and training centers like we are seeing today. And it is my belief that it won't be long until the U.S. catch up to England, at least on a purely facility and training level base. I mean, if you just look around, all the Olympic athletes from all over the world come to the United States to train. There's no reason that football can't be the same, that we can't develop our youth right here in the US of A. So my second reason for why the US will win a World Cup before England is Americans abroad. In the past, although there have been some notable exceptions, the American World Cup squad has tended to be comprised solely of Americans from the American League. While the quality of these players might still have been evident, there was probably something holding them back due to the lack of competition with the world's elite, which pretty much all play in Europe. However, what we're seeing is a new trend, a new generation of United States players that are making the scary transition overseas to find competition amongst the world's best players. And not only are they moving across in droves, they're moving to some elite clubs. For example, you only have to look at Christian Pulisic at Chelsea, Weston McKennie at Juventus, and Serginho Dest and Conrad de la Fuente at Barcelona. These clubs are massive, if not the biggest in their own respective countries. And this type of exposure to high-level ideas, footballing IQ, it can only be a good thing for the U.S. national team. In addition to this, we have already seen what having MLS feeder clubs given to European giants, such as the way the Red Bull organization is run, feed into young, budding American coaches given the reins at larger European clubs. Of course, I'm talking about Jesse March, who started his career at New York Red Bulls before transitioning to an assistant coach at RB Leipzig and now becoming the manager of RB Salzburg. These American players given the chance at the very top of European football, not to mention a young American budding coach coming through the ranks, is a great sign for all of American football and for the future of the national team as well. Now, you may have been wondering, well, sure, the U.S. is up and coming, but England are here right now. What's stopping them from winning a World Cup? And to be honest with you, I really only have to give one example. It's history. Now, I could go on about how every 4 years since 1966, England have failed to live up to public expectation when it comes to the World Cup, but I really feel I only need to cite the most latest example to show all of England's shortcomings on football's biggest stage. Going into the 2018 World Cup, England had a bright young squad with some of the most exciting talent the country has seen in recent memory. Stars like Tottenham's Harry Kane, Man City's Raheem Sterling, and Man United's Marcus Rashford. Now, keeping all that in mind, England also had the luxury of one of the easiest World Cup groups that were announced, with only Belgium being significant opposition, the other two being Tunisia and Panama, both teams England would expect to beat 99 times out of 100. England got through the group, and morale was pretty high. And when they also beat Colombia on penalties, it was pretty much through the roof. When they beat Sweden in the quarterfinals, everyone started to dream, and the public really thought that this was their year. This was the year they banish all previous memories and finally return the World Cup to its rightful home. But it was not to be, as they were knocked out by Croatia in the semifinals. Now, when you hear that with no context, you think, well, that's great. They got to a World Cup semifinal. What makes you think it's so much harder that they'll win 2 more games and reach the pinnacle of the game? But I'm afraid in this instance, the truth really does lie in the details. I mean, if you look at the teams that they beat to get there, Tunisia and Panama, I mean, they played Belgium, but the game meant nothing as they were already through before a ball had been kicked. And then in the knockout stages, Colombia and Sweden. Now, all 4 of those teams, with the exception of Belgium, England fans would have felt fairly comfortable playing on a one-off friendly anywhere in the world. Couple this with the fact that throughout the whole tournament, England were overly reliant on set pieces, with goals against Tunisia, multiple goals against Panama, and various goals against Colombia, all coming from set pieces. The point I'm trying to make is, England had the easiest run to a World Cup final in recent memory, and yet they still managed to come up short. Now, England's squad is full of young talent, and the emergence of Jadon Sancho since the 2018 World Cup has only heightened that. But will they reach their peak before the United States does? The team, I mean, not the talent. I mean, obviously England have talent that is levels above what the United States currently have. But are they well equipped to succeed when there's such a history of failure? I really don't think so. And to be honest, I see England national team stagnating over the next few years. I really don't think that they have an X factor to pull them through. England are a tier below the teams such as France, Spain, Germany, Brazil, national teams that know how to win, have successfully done it in the past, and have otherworldly talent. Nobody's debating that individually England have great players, but can they come together as a team and succeed on the national stage? That has always been a no. Superior facilities, know-how, and general football knowledge can only take a country so far. And with the United States having vast resources in terms of population size as well as finances, I don't really think it will be long before the United States catches and overtakes the England national team. So these are some of the reasons why I think the United States will win the World Cup before England. Now, I know that this is a very tense subject, which I'm sure will spark a lot of debate, but feel free to lay out your argument for me in the comments below, and I'll respond with maybe a counter-argument. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the video. It really does help. And since this is the first video, I'm really trying to grow this channel, and I should be uploading semi-regularly on this channel, so please keep an eye out for everything that I'm uploading. That's going to be it for today. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.